Dear partners and colleagues, welcome to the next edition of Gurtam Meetups. My name is Ksenia Dolia. I'm Technology Partners Community Manager at Gurtam. In case that's the very first time you've tuned in, we are in the middle of the second season of Gurtam IoT broadcasts. Our meetups gather the telematics experts from different parts of the world and different verticals. However, all of us believe that the future is shaped by IoT. In case you would like to check all our previous videos, please follow the link in the description to this video. Today we are discussing the automation of business processes. In the context of the pandemic and struggling economies, all our integrators and service providers all over the world, they are searching for the ways how they could cut costs. But meantime, what you do if you need to cut costs and at the same time have the same level of service and quality. Many experts and analytics, they talk about automation and digitalization of the process as one of the ways to increase the efficiency. Even our technology partner Pod Group made a series of interviews with service providers working in Africa. And the service providers themselves named the automation and digitalization as one of the keys to success in the crisis times. So as we might know that our partners and customers from Africa, they face economical, political challenges on a daily basis. So I would definitely trust their opinion here. So in meantime, despite that, we usually speak about automation and it's kind of perceived an obvious thing to think about. Not many of us, and here I mean service providers and telematics, logistics companies, even vendors of telematics solutions. So not all of us can wholeheartedly say that we apply all the tools, all the automation tools that exist there on the market. Sometimes we might rely on paperwork more than we rely on our CRM. Sometimes we can evaluate the performance of our specialists without any measurable KPIs. Sometimes we lack tools to measure the quality of our service, and as a result, we might learn about the issues or even the SLA breach from our customers only when the customers complain about it. And bad news to all of us, not all the customers complain. Some of them just leave to other providers with a high level of service. So taking all these risks into account, what might be the reasons to stop us from automating our business, even if we understand that it's something that we can do right away? And what if we made up our minds, so where should we start with it? Luckily today I have the expert that will help me to answer all these questions. So please allow me to present you Kirill Fedulov from Ogdesk, co-founder of Ogdesk. So Kirill here, he's not only representing the help desk solution integrated with wialon and used by our partners, but also Kirill has more than 15 years of experience in service automation, so he is a true expert in the field. Thank you for joining us, Kirill. And also I would like to present you Milan Suletic, Director of Codes. So Milan can look at the problem from different angles, from two angles. So first of all, as a former managing director of a big telematics service provider, and at the same time as an IoT consultant and software development expert. So Milan, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
And finally, I would like to present you Fabrice Fotso, CEO at Camtrack. So Camtrack is one of the biggest integrators working in the French-speaking part of Africa and based in Cameroon, however, with the business spreading all across the continent. So thank you for joining, Fabrice.
Thank you, Ksenia.
So before we start our conversation, I would like to remind our audience that we expect your questions. We expect your questions, and we expect your remarks and your experiences with automation. So please leave your feedback in the chat section on the YouTube. So we will do our best to answer the most interesting questions at the very end of our meetup. So let's tackle our subject for today's conversation. So my first question to my experts is, so from your perspective, what business processes should be automated first? First, I would like to ask the opinion of Milan. So, from your perspective, what should be like the first process to automate, and is there a must-have tool that you might recommend to wialon integrators?
Hello, everybody, first, and greetings from Belgrade, of course. Question is really, really hard, and it's hard to find some easy answer for it. For my previous experience, I had chance to meet many different integrators and to speak about them regarding this topic. And what is completely obvious is that there is so many ways of organizing companies and organizing things, and it's hard to find two exactly same companies and to apply something that is strict for everybody. From point of my previous experience, like an integrator, I will tackle for sure, first thing that I will tackle would be like core processes, for example, like installation, service department, things like that. On other side, from point of view as a custom software developer, business analyst, I would more gladly tackle first more general stuff like sales or customer support or things like that. In general, book would say like to first thing first to work with strongest or weakest parts of processes, and some experience regarding process automation would say that only those processes that are already mature in the company should be automated. And from all of that, that is really significant number of answers. It could really vary from, it could be really different from company to company.
Milan, thank you for your answer. So yeah, you definitely should look first at the company that you're automating and then make any decisions. So maybe Fabrice, you could answer the very same question, share your opinion. So what might be the business processes that you would recommend to automate at the very beginning, and is there a must-have tool that you might recommend to wialon partners?
Yes, okay. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share our experience here with the community, wialon and Gurtam community. What I would like to say regarding the automation is that, let's say, what we have to take into account is the type of customer that you are addressing, okay? First. This is very important because what if you look at our experience, we have different type of customers, and we are very service oriented, which means that when we think about automation of some processes, we need to make sure that, let's say, the people that we have in front of us, or not in front of us, let's say our partners and our customers are capable of, let's say, having access to us and having answers to their question in a very efficient way, fast and efficient way. So this is what we have done in our strategy, is that we started by let's say, making sure that those people, so our customers and our partners, have access to a tool or a portal which could help them have quick answers. Okay, so and we know by experience that there are certain questions that can be managed even through some, let's say, some tools like chat tools and things, automatic chatbot. So what we have done on our side is that we have tried to implement this kind of approach, and in parallel, as we are, let's say, more and more, and we have, we have migrated recently our cost or ERP to a new system, which include a CRM platform. So what we are doing on the side and what we believe is that accelerating the CRM solutions, especially the parts of the CRM solution that are related to services, will be efficient for let's say getting a best service, providing best services to our customers. So that is basically what how we see that. Now there are other processes like yes. Okay.
Thank you, Fabrice, and thank you for making this emphasis on the customer, because for sure, for all of us, the customer is in the core of the question that we're discussing. And last but not least, Kirill, so could you please share your opinion? So what is the business process that should be automated first? And also, talking about your solution, maybe there are some most popular types of tasks that are automated inside Ogdesk.
Yeah, Ksenia, thank you very much. Greetings to everyone from frosty Moscow. You know, it's very interesting, but as Milan told, not a very simple question. Well, actually, let me back up. No doubt for me that the first question for answer must be, why does our company need automation? What specific results do we want to achieve through automation? That's the right and first questions. And only after that, what kind of business process should be automated first? From my point of view, as you told, actually it's more than 15 years of organization, implementation, and automation of service processes. So every day I speak with dozens of IT service companies, including service providers and fleet management integrators. Companies which implement and automate specific processes for their customers, for their end customers. Surprisingly enough, but most of them told their customers about benefits of implementing, for example, wialon or other software and technologies, but at the same time, they continue their own business without automation, paradoxically. As I remember, in English, we use the idiom, the cobbler always wear the worst shoes. That's what we see everywhere, all around the world. And that's why we see Excel, instant messengers, or email as CRM system, help desk system, etc. So, why does our company need automation? What specific result do we want to achieve? And after that, only what kind of business process should be automated first? You know, frankly speaking, for fleet management integrators, there are not so many options or variants. Their business is about, first, implementation of sensors and developing some complex monitoring processes via wialon. And the second one is supporting the result of these projects, supporting and maintaining of sensors, vehicles, monitoring system, and all that is connected with it. That's why, of course, the first is about sales processes. Because without that, because when we lose leads, there is no good conversation from leads to customers and no business at all. But almost immediately after first sales, after the first one with several hundreds vehicles, for example, or after the first 5 small clients, doesn't matter, we need to automate service and support. Why? Because the fleet management industry is very competitive all around the world. Because customer acquisition cost is also very high. And that's why you can't lose clients due to a bad service. Back to question, what specific results do we want to achieve through automation? For example, in Ogdesk, we develop some specific help desk solution for service companies and fleet management integrators. Ogdesk helps to automate 100% your entire service business and solve specific issues. For example, we help to increase lifetime value of your customers and reduce customer churn. We provide possibilities to increase average revenue per client due to, for example, upselling within the support processes, or due to offering customers different level packages with different, as you told, SLA, reaction time, resolution time, different communication channels, and so on. We have a lot of tools and possibilities, but that's not the end. We are going with service companies and provide unique and very specific industry integration, like we do with wialon. This out-of-the-box integration helps synchronize the list of vehicles and sensors installed in these vehicles with the list of units and devices in Ocdesk. This information you can use while creating tickets, for example, linked to customers, sensors, and so on, and then manage your process with this information. Another case of this integration is about creating ticket in Ocdesk account of integrator right from wialon interface by end customers. So first one is about sales process, of course, implementing CRM system, automating this process. And after that, at the same time, maybe, as I told, help desk system, support service, and so on, because it's our business, it's our service business for integrators. That's my opinion.
Thank you so much, Kirill. So we have three a bit different takes, but all those takes at the same time tell us that choosing the business process is not the first question that we should ask ourselves. So that's a really good takeaway to begin with. So my next question is more about the problems and the issues that the integrator faces while automating the process. So what problems did you face when automating the processes of your company, and how you solved them? And that's a question that I would like to ask Fabrice. So Fabrice, what you think about it?
Okay, so I think that just to summarize, the problem that you meet when you want to implement automation is linked to the fact that in most of the case, this means changes. Okay, changes in your way of thinking, changes in the way of your way of supporting your customer, changing your way of addressing your let's say your team internally, your organization. So in most of the cases, the problem that you will face when trying to implement automation will be the type of problem that you meet when you do changes. Yeah? So this has for us, and this is, let's say, why for us we have tried to do it together with a kind of change management, let's say, support in parallel to the implementation of automation, which means that we are trying to, let's say, first to make sure that the people that are involved and that would be most impacted in the changes are involved in what is going to happen, and that they understand and adhere. I don't know how to say it in English again, maybe the same word, and that they are aware and that they take that as a part of their own challenge for the success of their job and for sure for the success of the company. So that is the main point. The second point, which is also very important, is that when you have to implement automation, you may need to call for tools or for system or for platform that are that you didn't use in the past because simply you were doing all the thing manually, and this has a cost. Okay, and sometimes the cost of the implementation of automation can be in some cases very high. So you have really to think in terms of ROI when doing this type of changes, because this is where you will find the energy and to go through the implementation of the automation. You need absolutely to think ROI, because if you look at what is the cost only of putting that in place, you may be a little bit surprised. Let's say it like that.
Thank you so much, Fabrice. So, Milan, based on your experience as an integrator and also based on the communication with other integrators that you have, how do you think what problems the integrator faces when while automating the processes in the company, and what might be the ways to solve them?
I will speak from perspective, let's say, one growing company new on the market, and moments when problems appears and you need to automate. And from that perspective, I completely agree with Fabrice. And there is first issues that companies get into it with wish to automate to be better is how to get rid of old habits. For example, when we are growing, we usually put ourselves in situation to cut corners, juggle oranges, to do some maybe not processes on some shortcuts and technically, let's say my first customer that was over 1,000 have rights to call me 0 to 12, like all day, like 24/7, to ask for VIP support. And for such a small company, flexibility and creativity is main power to success, to go in direction of growth. And the catch here is that flexibility and creativity on one side and automation and structure on another are not really good buddies, not really good friends. Technically, the biggest challenge is to adapt processes to be able to automate them. Maybe that could be the biggest challenge in this case. And all solutions, tools, no matter how wonderful, beautiful they are, should be just cherry on top. We need first to fix our processes to fit automation and to fit some different way of doing business. And tools should just make our processes going faster, more smoother, and to help us that way. But it's still challenges inside of the company. Challenges is about processes, adaptation of new way of thinking, like Fabrice said, and that might be the biggest deal here.
Okay, thank you so much, Milan. And also, I would like to ask Kirill. So, what objections do you normally hear from the integrators when you're trying to push automation? Because I know that you're ambassador of automation and optimization. So what objections do you hear, and what is your take on those objections?
I can speak about objections when we speak about customer service automation, of course. I do really think that the main objection is we are fine or we are doing well. That's what we hear every day from service providers, from fleet management integrators, Gurtam partners, of course. I think we, IT guys, cannot recognize the gaps within our own businesses. What do we do with these objections? We are checking this, we are doing well with some specific questions. For example, do you record all customers' requests? Are you 100% sure that you don't forget or lose of them? What percentage of requests, for example, in the last month were completed outside the SLA? Why was it happened? Are your customers satisfied with the quality of your service? If not, why? Do you know how to change that? Which of the employees or technicians objectively performs better, or who is the worst? Why? The vast majority cannot answer a single question. Rarely, some respond only to the first one. That's not we're fine, I think. And I hope that all of people in the chat agree with me. Already at this stage, directors, chief officers, or even founders of fleet management integrators are seriously thinking about whether they are really doing well. But the killer question, yeah, let me say in this way, killer question is how often do clients refuse? How often do clients refuse to renew the contract due to a bad service? Ksenia, of course, you know, but this summer we had first industry research about service for fleet management integrators. It was in Russia and CIS region. But there were almost 100 participants and companies, from small integrators, which and they service several hundreds vehicles, to the level of those who are serving and supporting a total fleet park, as I remember, more than 30,000 or more vehicles. And that killer question was in our research. Guys who are watching us in the chat, how do you think, how many companies refuse their clients due to a bad service in Russia and CIS? I'll give you several seconds for the answer in chat. Maybe we will have a winner and maybe somebody will guess. You know, the result was dreadfully, really unbelievable. Almost 60% of respondents say that they refuse their clients due to a bad service. And they also think that they are fine and doing well. Just imagine that. You know, we take it philosophically. Time will tell. In Agdesk, we will help those guys who are not fine and who want to be the best in service. By the way, if somebody knows Russian or interested in this research, we can send it final document with all results. Just give me your email in the chat, for example, or maybe in the personal email. And if Gurtam partners will be interested in it research, full research of service, about service, we can provide another meetup or webinar where I represent the result in English together with Gurtam.
Kirill, thank you so much for answering the question. And also, dear audience, please share your thoughts in the chat. Would you like to participate in such a survey? For example, and learn more about your own business and also of the business of your fellow integrators in the wialon community. Yes, and also please leave your questions in the chat. So far, I see the compliments to Kirill and to Agdesk team, but no questions so far. So, waiting for your questions. And yes, also please share your experience with automation, because we also would like to know what challenges you are facing, what do you think about the subject, and how do you think, on what level of service your company is located right now, and what are your plans in developing your customer service. And now let's tackle the issue that we started to discuss a bit while we discuss the challenges. And I think that's the issue we're all facing. We're trying to introduce a CRM or a time tracking tool or any other business tool that actually affects the daily life of our employees. I've been with Gurtam for quite some time, and I still remember the days when we just started to implement the corporate CRM. And like being a junior business development manager, despite the fact that I was super happy about the CRM replacing the Microsoft Word, at the same time, I kind of realized very fast that CRM means for me as an employee, new tasks, new rules, and what seemed at the very beginning an additional workflow. So, and it took me some time to realize that this tool actually makes my life better as an employee. So my next question is basically, what the integrator or even what the manager has to do in order to have the team on board while introducing new tools, introducing automation. And that's a question that maybe Milan would be first to answer it.
Technically, Ksenia, you answered yourself. It was perfect. You were a perfect expert in this case. Because if at the end, all automations, everything that we implement should make life easier to everybody. And that is the case. Maybe people would have some, not maybe, for sure, people would have some issues with first time with some special procedures or what they need to do, but we just need to help them to reach that point. As Ksenia said, that she realized that CRM make her life easier. And it's explainable, it's could be done. Could be done. It's challenging, but it simply need working with people and then help them to find their place in that new company that will be built after automation.
Thank you so much. And Fabrice, what is your take on that? So, what should you do to have your team on board while implementing automation?
You know, in Africa we have special way of doing that.
Okay, let's hear it.
No. I would say no. What is important, I think, is that again, is to make sure that we explain to the people what will be the benefit for them. Okay, I think that you have to trust your team. Okay, and you have to consider that you have smart people in your team, and this is, at least if you do not have smart people in your team, it's your fault, actually. Okay, so let's say you have to trust your team and think that by showing them what will be the advantage of getting, let's say, onboarding in a CRM tool, or maybe let's say implementing some tool that can help them from, let's say, being bothered by questions that can be handled easily, and work with them in order to over all those type of questions is something that you need to do. I'm saying it, I'm presenting it like this. It may seem very easy, but what we have found out is that when, before, for example, selecting a tool for a CRM, we involve all the key people in the process of, let's say, discussing with the suppliers that we are, let's say, the vendor of this type of product, can help them see what could be the benefit for them. And at the end of the day, when the guy have seen what, through maybe some demos or things like that, what he may be capable to do with the tools, it's much more easy for him to consider that this is an approach that he can support. So let's say, to summarize, we think that education and trust to the team is key for the success of the implementation of automation.
Thank you so much, Fabrice. And of course, last but not least, Kirill, what do you think from the perspective of the solution provider? What to do to have your team happy and agree to implement new tool?
Ksenia, you know, it's really difficult because I'm the third one, and guys, they told about everything, but I will try to say something new. You know, I have some notes, of course, for today's meetup, and I will use it right now. You know, we all have the chaos report published by Standish Group. It's an annual report, and as I remember, it's have been published since 1994, and are a snapshot of the software development industry and implementation of IT projects and new software. In the report, as I remember, also 50,000 projects around the world were studied. The result indicate that there is still work to be done around achieving successful outcomes from development and implementing new processes, changes, and so on, because of course every new process is about implementing changes. According to that report, for many years, only 30% of projects and changes have been successfully implemented. A key part of this analysis of this report over last 21 years has been the identification and ranking of the factors which work together to make projects more successful and changes, of course, more successful. As I remember, there are near 10 key factors or main factors. For example, executive sponsorship, of course, user involvement. Fabrice have already told about that. Clear business objectives, as I told you at the first questions when I answered, and so on. This report is the answer to your question, Ksenia. As Richard Branson told, screw it, let's do it. But from my point of view, except of all things that Fabrice and Milan have already told, there is another important issue while providing changes. Of course, it's about easy, about benefits and so on, but you need to sell these changes to your employees. Let's take how it can be with support solution, for example, or help desk. Of course, I'm about my experience and so on. So very often employees, including employees of fleet management integrators, of course, are sure that implementation of new software, help desk, CRM, never mind, or will reveal all their interesting details. You know what I mean. Who is lazy, who is constantly late, who is rude to the client, who answered on tickets too late, and so on, etc. And as long as there is no system, as long as there are no reports, employees can hide behind any explanations. And at the same time, you can't objectively assess the real situation. Of course, automation will help to be more transparent. That's the problem for people. That's why they try to sabotage all changes and implement new software. How they do that? They, for example, they are not interested in choosing and testing different solutions. They will tell you that all solutions are non-useful, difficult, etc. How to increase the success of such initiatives, to increase the success of changes and implementation of new software? To sell, to do marketing of these changes in the right way in your own organization. The way which will help them, or the way without problems for them. Back to help desk system and our experience. There is, of course, no silver bullet, you know. But when you are trying to implement new help desk solution, you can tell next thing. Help desk will help us to exclude unreasonable dissatisfaction from our customers. We all know some clients are manipulating us. Some of them can even lie. Without system which logs all communications, all agreements, all activities, we can easily to appeal all these objections. And you know, with such message for implementing changes, that's true. Of course, every system is about transparency, not only for employees, but for processes, and in case of help desk system, for transparency with customers. That's our experience.
Thank you so much, Kirill. I would say that we already have an amazing takeaway from this meetup. Screw it, let's do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so last but not least, let's tackle the mistakes. So let's tackle the mistakes that integrators are doing while implementing new tools, while automating their business processes. What are the worst mistakes that an integrator can do while introducing changes in his business processes? And Fabrice, if you don't mind, I would like to start from you. What do you think?
Thank you very much, Ksenia. So if you talk about mistakes, okay, I think that there is one thing which is very important, which is to make sure that you know your current processes, okay, and that you understand and you have identified within your current processes where are, let's say, the weak points. As soon as if you do not challenge your current process before going and trying to implement automation, I think that this is where most of the mistakes will come, okay? And we have experience, let's say, in the small type of, in the small areas of a process. We have experienced this type of thing. And we had a chance that it was, let's say, small enough within the complete process that we could come back and make and fine tune it within a reasonable time. This is very important. Is that when you implement, or maybe I'm saying exactly the same thing. When you implement automation, you first need to challenge your current process and understand what within your current process is source of efficiency, or what within your current process brings lacks, okay? And this is really critical, because at the end of the day, the thing is not just that you are going to implement a wrong automation process, but it will cost you a lot of money too, okay? I'm insisting on the money because, again, we have all around the table here, we have to be conscious that implementation has a cost, okay? And what we see is that each time you have made a mistake, okay, the cost to come back to, let's say, a normal under bracket situation can be very, very high, depending on how far you make these mistakes. So to summarize, for me the main mistake is when you did not challenge your process, and when you did not challenge the people that are implementing the processes.
Thank you so much, Fabrice. I think that it kind of coincides perfectly with what Milan said at the very beginning of our conversation when we talked about like where to start and what process to choose. So Milan, can you please also share your thoughts about like the worst mistakes integrator can do?
It is like from my personal experience, and this is my personal opinion, there is one mistake users of softwares and in process of purchasing those automation tools made is mixing what's what and what is selling. And for example, they will call Kirill and complain about price of that software because that's a software. And the point is that Kirill here is selling knowledge about organization, some model that he thinks that will work. And like we know, knowledge is the priceless thing. That is first thing. It's like bit wrong perception, even for when they call, and I had those situations, I need to admit, even when they ask, for example, software developers to create some automation tools for them, they could call in matter of expecting that we will solve everything. And again, we're going back that model and processes are for sure most important thing. And for example, if you have bad model that are generating errors, if you automate that, you will just have errors created much more faster than usual. It's it might be sounds funny, but it's quite possible automation to backfire. Even if you're buying solution from Kirill and you think that is the software, it's not the software. That knowledge inside, it's the most important thing. Additionally, to try to illustrate how I looked at it's if you give let's say if you give a hammer to Milan, to me, I will break my hand, break the window, or probably do something bad with it because I'm not a handyman. But if you give a hammer to some other guy, he can create you a beautiful sculpture in marble and some marvelous art. At the end, it can't be about tools. If you know what you're doing, you can do marvelous things. If your processes are good, if you organize them well, you can do marvelous things even with Google Sheet, with forms, with Excel. Only thing that is essential, and sometimes it's forget, like Kirill said previously, is to log data, to know which data to log, which analysis you wish to have at the end of the day, what you wish to know from your business, because you need data to be able to manage it, to be able to see what's wrong, to be able to fix things. For example, source of the problem could be in a technical department, and technical department will generate tons of tickets for support. It's not solution to fix support. It's solution to fix technical department. Or maybe even in some crazy cases, sales could sell something that shouldn't be sold and promise something they shouldn't be promised, and that could generate problems for technical department, for support, for everybody. It's important to know what's going there, and most important thing for that is something else. It's like to log data about your activities, who did it, what did it, when, how long that last, and things like that. Work on, like the biggest problem could rise if you're not working about problem itself. If you wish to solve it with some magic wand, it could really backfire, and it could really it could end up much worse than it's started. But thankfully, we have a wonderful network here around Gurtam. There are people basically for each and every phase of the company growth. You will find somebody to give you advice, to tell you something about it. We all made so many mistakes in our previous work. Me personally made tons of them. We could speak anecdotes about how stupid they were. And it's better to learn from others. It's better to speak with people. Yes, even that WhatsApp group is beautiful. You can find some people that could consult you, that could speak with you about processes, how to improve it. Just like it's important for everybody not to see some tools for automation like magic wands to see it like real deal. It's just a cherry on the cake. You still need to make a good cake.
Thank you so much, Milan. And Kirill, from the perspective of the solution provider, what do you think, what would be the worst mistakes the integrator can do?
First of all, I would like to say that Milan and Fabrice, you are definitely my heroes. Ksenia, of course, you are too. Let me add something. As I told about that in the beginning, in my opinion, the worst mistake and at the same time the most common thing, is about misunderstanding real goals of implementing new processes and real possible outcomes of implementing changes. Of course, it's also about implementing new software. If the management doesn't have clear answer to the questions, the employees who follow these changes all the more do not understand too. That's why we see a lot of useless work in choosing software, in implementing new processes and solutions, etc. As a result, failed projects without understanding why was it happened and what do we need to do next. I'm strongly convinced that there are no revolution scenario while implementing changes in our organization. Instead of this, we need to go step by step. Each company and fleet management integrator also, they already have sales processes, support processes, of course, installations, etc. And it works somehow. All you need is a first step, is to understand what places are like, Fabrice told about that, like bottleneck, as I remember the word, and outline the improvement. The problem is the absence or misuse of the automation system, as Milan told. Without them, without reports and statistics, all decision will be, how can we say, some kind of blind, I think, or biased maybe. But even without possibility for making objective decisions, we need to improve the way we're doing something, not to break and rebuild. As the chaos report also tells us, we need to improve or increase the maturity of our processes, the outcomes gained of our processes. You know, we all have the answer how to do that, and that's my second note. There is a maturity model methodology. It's called capability maturity model integration, or simply CMMI. For companies all size and industries, it's very convenient. By the way, CMMI version 2.0 was released recently, as I remember, in 2018. CMMI defines the following 5 maturity levels of organization. Initial, when, for example, process is unpredictable, poorly controlled, reactive, and so on. The second level is managed. The third one is defined. The fourth one is quantitatively managed, when process is measured and controlled. And the last one about focus on process improvement. It's called optimizing, as I remember. All process in this model divided on the levels. So CMMI describe not only maturity levels, but what processes do we need to implement in our organization on every level. For example, work planning processes or process and quality assurance are on the second level, managed. But the risk management processes or capacity and availability management are on the third one, defined level. Of course, it's also not the silver bullet for every organization. And we all need to understand that maturity level can be adopted for each processes in our organization, like sales, support, and so on. For example, because I'm doing all about service automation, and so on. For support, when we register tickets somehow, it could be by Excel or messengers, it's the start, initial level. The second one, when we don't lose any tickets and link them to our clients to understand how much time and resources do we waste for every customers. The third one is about automation. When we use, for example, auto-routing, smartly planning, because we have clear algorithms and procedures. When we start to link all tickets not only to customers, but to their vehicles and sensors, that gives us full information for decision making. At this stage, we are becoming proactive, not reactive. The fourth is about increasing efficiency at every step and every activity in support processes. For example, using knowledge base, useful integrations, etc. And the last one, the fifth, continuous improvement. So from my point of view, from my opinion, every changes must be about improving our processes and maturity levels, at least till we reach measured and controlled level. That's my opinion.
Thank you so much, Kirill. Thank you so much, dear experts, for all this knowledge that you shared with us today. It was amazing. So far, we don't have any time for questions. So, dear audience, if any questions arise when you watch this video, please send it to us by email and we will pass it to our speakers. And of course, use the partner chat to reach Milan and Fabrice. So as we've seen today, introducing the changes in the business processes might be not the easiest task. So it goes with the initial analysis, it goes with investment and the commitment from the employees, and at the same time from the managers, and the willingness of managers to guide their employees and sell the changes that they are introducing. And at the same time, there are the risks of wrong choices, there are the risks of wrong investment, there are even the risks to multiply the mistakes using the automation tool like Milan highlighted. But these risks, should those risks stop us from introducing the changes, from introducing the automation? The research that IBM did recently shows that it shouldn't. Among the 3,000 companies that they interviewed, those who have some level of automation, and 90% of those who have some kind of automation, they say that this automation helps to tackle better the changes in the trends, the changes in the business and the market. And taking into account this changing reality that we face this year, that's one of the most important things that we should be focusing on. So please feel free to continue the discussion that we had just started today. Continue it at the forum, at the partner chat, and of course in the comments below this video on the YouTube. And of course, tune in on December 3rd, where we are having our next Gurtam meetup, and we will talk about the marketing in telematics. So thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and see you at Gurtam meetups.